Good morning, everyone. It is Sunday, the day before Columbus Day for those in America, or as I like to call it, hey, let's celebrate random guy who didn't actually do anything, but we just needed another male holiday. And by male, I mean both male, M-A-L-E, and M-A-I-L. Really don't care for Columbus Day. Really and truly don't. And said I am off tomorrow, so I guess I should sort of be glad, but I mean, I would rather celebrate someone else on Columbus Day who maybe did something actually awesome and not discovering a continent that was already here with people already living on it. How about a happy Indigenous Peoples Day? That would be a better idea. I mean, we did give them smallpox. The least we could do is give them a national holiday. But if you're not in America, well, then happy Monday to y'all. I know Canada just had Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to my Canadian friends. A little late, but happy Thanksgiving. Alright, so, not really sure what all's going to go on today. We do have a little bit of haul. We have Countdown to Halloween, as well as an opening. And then we've got some whip updates. And of course, Q&A. So, let's see. I guess we'll start with the Q&A. Jamie Lynn Moore asks, have I tried hand-dyed fabric or hand-dyed floss? If so, did you like using it? I'm going to guess you just mean, have I bought and used it versus have I done it myself? I think that's a question that's up above. Yes, actually, I use a lot of both, actually. Because Weeks and Gentle Arts, those are all hand-dyed. I've got several of the fabric of the floss by LJ. I haven't used it yet, but it's hand-dyed as well. And it looks gorgeous. The fabrics I primarily use either Under the Sea or Dye Stitch Love. So yes, I have, and I enjoy using it very much. Amy M121 asks, how much is Stitchy Box, and do they ship to the UK? Yes, they do ship to the UK. The price varies. There's 4 different settings on Stitchy Box. There's there may even actually be more, but I know there's the box that has larger weaves, like the Adas, or like 28, 14 count, 18 count, and I think 32 count. Basically 32 and below, and you can either get an option that gives you 2 pieces of fabric or just 1 piece of fabric. You either get 2 fat 16ths or a fat 1/8, and then there's a bigger one that's 36 and 40 count, and it's the same thing. Either you get 2 fat 16ths or a fat 1/8. And that just sort of depends on you. I'm doing the one that gives you 1 piece of fabric, because I don't really do a lot of smalls, so, but I would highly recommend it. Jalen Hansen asks, do you have the Barbie Wizard of Oz collection? Okay, that's kind of a difficult question to answer. Yes and no. There's 5 different sets. I don't have all of the sets. Eventually, that would actually make for a interesting video set, I'm sure. There was one set that started about 1993, 1994, and ran through about 1997. And that was their first run, and it was Dorothy, Glinda, Scarecrow, Tin Man, Lion. I have the Tin Man from that set. Then there was, and those were like the collector ones. Those were the ones that, like, when you would go to toy stores, were behind the glass cabinet, and you had to get someone to bring the box to you. Then there was, around the time of the 60th anniversary, so 98, 99-ish, there was a play set that was Dorothy, Glinda, Scarecrow, Tin Man, Lion. Dorothy's shoes light up, and she talks, Glinda talks, there were also 3 munchkins. There was the Mare, a Lollipop, and a Lullaby. I don't have the Lullaby munchkin, but otherwise I have the entire set. Then when I was in my last couple of years in Arkansas, so about 2006, there was a Pink Label set that was, again, Dorothy, Scarecrow, Tin Man, Lion, Glinda, added the Wicked Witch of the West, and had 3 munchkins as well, and it was 2 generic munchkins and another Lollipop munchkin. And then they did some obnoxious thing. They also added, as a Toys R Us exclusive only, you could get a Winky Guard and Flying Monkey. I have those. Then they did a thing where you could get the 2 witches together plus a bonus munchkin. I don't have the bonus munchkin because I wasn't going to re-spend the money since I already had Glinda and the Witch. Then, about 2 years later, which I think was for the 70th anniversary, they did they reissued those same ones. They added the Wicked Witch of the East. The only difference was now the little basses would play clips of songs. I don't have the Wicked Witch of the East, but I didn't buy any of the others because, again, I already had them. Singing basses, to me, just didn't justify repurchasing. And then for the 75th anniversary, they came out with another set that were meant to look more like the film actors, and they improved the Tin Man because he stopped being in this sort of shiny fabric suit and they put him in hard plastic. Glinda looks kind of like Billy Burke, the Witch doesn't really look like Margaret Hamilton, and Dorothy doesn't look like Judy Garland, but I do have all of those. So I have an incomplete first set, because I just have the Tin Man. And I don't have any of the 4th set. And I have a quasi-incomplete 3rd set, but like I said, I'm not too heartbroken. So, there you go. There's your answer. So, I would like all of the others eventually, but they haven't ever really been a high priority. The Sloped Stitcher asks, how do you plan on finishing the Brooks Books designs that are done on perforated paper? I'm actually turning the Oz characters into ornaments. Most of them are designed to be turned into ornaments. So, that's kind of what I'm doing. Bernadette I will actually probably make into a magnet. Because I will eventually do her with all of the other additional things to make ornaments with. Linda Bazarski asks, does your mom or any other family member stitch, or am I the only one in my family? Active stitching, it's only me. But my great-grandmother, my grandmother, and my mother have all stitched at some point during their lives. In fact, I've shown some of the work off that's been done, and I just knocked that. Oh, crap. Oh, okay. But this one specifically here, my mother did and is hanging in their bathroom. So yes, my other members of my family have stitched. My mom doesn't really anymore because, partially because of eyes, partially because of carpal tunnel, partially because I just don't think she wants to. But she was the one that, I remember her stitching when I was little, and she was the one who kind of got me started on it. Let's see. Question. Okay, yes, I was right. Little Miss Moffat asks, would you ever consider trying hand dyeing your fabric myself? No. For a couple of reasons, not the least of which is I am very accident prone, and it would really end up like that episode of the Dick Van Dyke Show when Laura dyed all of their hands purple. That would be me. So, no. That one's not going to be something I'm ever going to attempt. Minnie Gray asks, do other people sitting in the restaurant stare at you while you're recording your videos? I've never noticed. But then again, I don't generally pay attention to my surroundings. Christine Cannon asks, why do I call my fiance G2? Because we have the same name. So, that's actually part of how we ended up meeting, but that's another story. Alright, so I think that's all the questions. Kelly Bell Stitches mentions that she got to watch The Wizard of Oz when it was on TV and only in black and white, and I'm more than a little jealous, because I'd like to know what that was like. And honestly, I think today, seeing it Kansas in sepia kind of takes some of the magic out, because you're already seeing a color. And when I was little, it was still the black and white Kansas, because they hadn't restored the sepia tone. So it was black and white, and then it was color. And I remember that being so amazing. And it's still breathtaking, but I don't think it's quite as breathtaking. But that's just me. Alright, we're going to do we'll do our little bit of haul first. I got a very, very lovely gift from Linda. And I'll leave your last name out, because I'm never really sure how many of you actually want me to say last names, so we're just going to say Linda. But Linda knows who she is. She sent me a very cute card with a puppy on it. She sent me a little Stitchy Bug needle minder, and it's purple, which is my favorite. And actually, I was using it a little bit last night because I moved the needle minder I was using, and the back fell off, and I couldn't figure out where it had fallen off. I was sitting on the couch, and I had a blanket on me, and so it's like, well, this is here, I'll just use this until I get up and move again. So, she also sent me this really cute chart from Glory Bee that says, "Don't make me call my flying monkeys." Yeah, I like that. And she also sent me this year's Christmas ornament from Just Cross Stitch, and there are some really cute things in here. And I was also looking at the so there's several of these that I like to do, but I was looking at this Thistle Threads ad, and I was like, oh, this stuff is really cool. That's like an entire paycheck. This Cabinet of Curiosities. I mean, that's ridiculous. That is an entire paycheck. Pretty, but no, I'm not gonna do that. So there you go. So thank you, Linda. It was very, very sweet of you, and I really love this needle minder. And I love the chart. I love it all. Alright, so, countdown to Halloween. Day 3 brought us quilt fabric for finishing. And it's upside down. It's pink, purple, and gray skulls. An awesome Halloween ornament needs an awesome Halloween fabric for finishing. Pink and purple skulls, what's not to love? So that was day 3. Day 4 were purple metallic seed beads. I picked these tiny Toho 15-0 seed beads because I love how they look with Pale Harvest from day 2. But really, purple beads will go with anything, right? Your package contains approximately 1 gram. So, always love getting beads. Alright. Day 5 was not a tampon. It was a tube of E600, which is, for those not in the know, this is the glue you use primarily in needle minders. And so here it is. Mine currently is sitting in the Stitchy Bog mug that I decided, as much as I love, is too small. Because I have a very curious dog, and I need that somewhere where he really cannot get to it. Alright, day 6 was Jacquard Singer Ribbon. She says, this may be the least Halloween-y item in your countdown box, but I fell in love with it while searching for goodies for this shipment, and I think you will too. And it is. It's very pretty. I don't know what I'll use it for, but it's very pretty. All right, day 7 was our first round of fabric. And it is Dusty Purple 28 count linen from Hand Dyed by Stephanie. And it says that this fabric will be used on a chart in this shipment. Who knows what day that's going to be. My guess is probably it'll be before the 31st, but I could be wrong. Alright, and then day 8, which was yesterday, was Nymo thread. Just a little spool of it in white. And according to her, the secret, give each piece a sharp tug between your hands before you use it. So I've never used Nymo thread, but I've always heard good things. So I'm looking forward to giving it a shot. And then today is day 9 and little polka dotted. Oh, I just completely ripped the bag. Ooh! Oh, these are pretty. These may actually get used in one way. Oh, these are very pretty. These are Preciosa? Something. 11O seed beads. There they are. In transparent yellow. Yellow isn't always well represented in the Halloween color palette, but what better color for creepy lamplight or moonlight? Your package contains approximately 2 grams. This may actually get used in Oz-Sal. These are really awesome. These actually may have several uses. So there's day 9. Those who have been following on Instagram, I've been using a hashtag, Liz Westlake melts my face off or rocks my face off. I kind of go back and forth between them. Please feel free to use them, because I think that should be a bigger hashtag than just me. Alright, so there we go. Alright, next up is going to be whips. Okay, so I finished my Wicked Witch of the West. Stayed up way too late doing so. The only real changes I made, I used Krynic from my stash. I did make the golden cap completely glittery, and I put beads on it. And instead of her cheeks being pink, I made them just a darker green, and I made her lips metallic too. And then I used a slightly darker purple. So here is the Wicked Witch of the West. And we will get to my commentary on her at the end. I started on Magical Creatures, but after the Wicked Witch of the West, I couldn't keep working on so much Black and Witch. So I'm working on a couple other things, and then I'll come back to it later. But there's where I am. I used the same week's Dyeworks grass here in October as well. And then I used, it's not really showing so well here because it's making it so bright, but I actually used a yellow wool so it looked like straw. So I will come back to this one probably after the Oz-Sal is done. And then I spent the last 3 days actually, working on Things Unseen. And I am pleased to report that with the exception of the border and the underlining under the last 2 rows of words, stitching is done. So this one goes back to being my at-lunch project for the week. So it'll probably take me until the end of the month to properly finish it, but it'll get done at work. So, and then I started on Oz-Sal, and I just got to start there, and I literally started this after breakfast this morning. So, got the little icons here to do, and then this panel, and I'm going to actually add Glinda in up here, so that'll be exciting. So there we go. Yeah, that's kind of all the whippy things. Okay, so now we'll talk about the Wicked Witch of the West. The Wicked Witch of the West is the most famous villain, probably out of the entire Oz series. She's one of the most famous villains of all time. When AFI did their greatest heroes, greatest villains, she came in second behind Darth Vader. And she's pretty darn fantastic. The witch is possibly also the character that keeps getting retconned, which those unfamiliar with the term retcon is when it's kind of like a rebooting. You go back and you sort of revise the past after it's already happened. She only appears in Wizard of Oz. And she's only in like a chapter and a half of the book. So she's really not the antagonist that the film made her, but obviously the film they were smart to realize we need an antagonist that shows up. Similar to Hannibal Lecter in the film, she's only in 12 minutes. You feel her the entire way through. And that's largely Margaret Hamilton's phenomenal performance. Similarly, in Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal Lecter's only in 20 minutes of the movie, but he feels like he's there the entire time. Baum never brings her back. In fact, she, I think, gets mentioned maybe once or twice past Wizard, if that. She is brought back to life occasionally in different media. The 1990 Deke cartoon, she was brought back to life as the primary villain for obvious reasons. In Roger Baum's Dorothy of Oz, which was made into a film as Legends of Oz, Dorothy's Return, her magic wand is there, which no one's really sure where Roger Baum got that, but that's okay. And of course, most famously, her story was revised as Wicked. Which, that's the thing that a lot of people want to go, oh, well, the witch is good and Glinda is bad, and we'll talk more about Glinda in December. The witch, in the book, the witch is sort of morally ambiguous. She does some very questionable things. In the stage version, no, she's pretty much the hero who doesn't really do anything all that morally reprehensible. It irritates the hell out of me when people refer to Margaret Hamilton as Elphaba, or when they refer to her when they're talking about Wizard of Oz as Elphaba. No. Elphaba is a creation of Gregory Maguire for his book Wicked and for the musical Wicked. Baum never named her. She's named Eveline, obviously, in The Wiz, but Baum never named her. There's nothing more to her than she was evil, she wanted power, she wanted to rule Oz, and that's kind of just about it. So I do think the musical is great. I saw the original cast. It was the first musical I saw in New York. It was, I don't want to say a life-changing experience, but it was one of my most favorite memories. But Wicked is fan fiction, for lack of a better description. It is not canon. The Wicked Witch does not have that backstory. And as far as I'm concerned, when we talk about the Wicked Witch of the West, she really is evil. She really is the bad guy. So, there you go. My thoughts on the Wicked Witch of the West. Alright, and now for this week's paper doll. This one's in a series by Pet Gandre, and I used to see these all the time in Barnes & Noble. There's a couple of different stylings for the artwork. This is Dorothy Visits Oz. Lot of the fairy tale characters. I know there was at least a Sleeping Beauty, an Alice in Wonderland, and a Little Mermaid. I'm sure there were more. This Dorothy, while looking very MGM, does have silver shoes. Her little stand thing keeps wanting to make an appearance. It comes with that on the back. This is not the most conducive thing, apparently. Okay. You get cutouts of Scarecrow, Tin Man, and Lion. It came with color dresses that you can cut out for her, including one where she's feeding a baby pig on the farm. You get non-ruby slippers. You get a Munchkinland dress. You get what's called the Good Witch dress, which looks like what I would assume they would have wanted Glinda to wear. An Emerald City dress. You get a little one-page version of the story. And then you get more dresses that you can color yourself. Obviously, I never did. Actually, I think I got this one as an adult. There's a school dress and a nightgown, and let's see, there's a traveling dress, a work dress for when she's at the witch. So it's pretty much what you would expect out of a little girl's paper doll set. So these, I remember seeing these available and around as late as the early 2000s. They may actually even still be in print. This one's copyrighted 1992. The Wizard of Oz one I didn't see as often as I saw the other fairy tale ones, but they were definitely around. So it came with one paper doll, 6 color, and 6 black and white outfits, and then the 3 friends you could cut out behind. So there you go. Yeah. I guess that's really kind of it. I'm gonna get ready. I'm gonna work more on Oz Sal, and then I will probably work on Magical Creatures next week. The next part of the Welcome Sal is out. It's a mirror of part 2. I will probably work on that. I may work on that between the two. I'll work it in at some point. So if I get a little behind on that one, it's not too bad, because you can whip through a part in a couple of hours. So there you go. Anyhow, I hope everyone has a great day, and I will see you all later.